All right, welcome back, guys, to another episode of The Morning Skate. You got Ked here. Before I introduce our guest, I want to say my apologies to people who are listening to this podcast. I told you I got a mic, and I did get a mic, but I completely forgot to turn it on the last, 3 times that we used it. So that's why the audio was still kind of fucked. But now we're good to go, and we have a fucking pretty cool guest, guys. This guy, he was drafted by the Philadelphia Flyers in the 2004 NHL draft, 92 overall, third round. He played for the University of Maine, where my co-host Hal claims that he was born and raised, even though he spent just a little bit of time there. He played for the Philadelphia Phantoms, the Adirondack Phantoms. He hopped over to the pond, so he's going to be able to tell us about some European type shit. Played a couple years on the coast, and oh yeah, guys, he sings country music. It's not a big deal. So Rob Bellamy, welcome to the Morning Skate. How's it going, brother?
Man, thanks for having me. Long time coming.
I know, man. I think you and I have been talking for months now, and we finally fucking got it. And I'm super pumped up because I myself am a huge country music fan, and I'm looking at your career, and I know that your siblings played, and I can't wait to really dive into just what it was like growing up and shit. So let's just start. You're the oldest of your 2 siblings. Casey, she's been on the podcast before. She won Olympic gold. Your brother Corey, who's younger, you played a couple years with him. So growing up, you had to have been the first person with a hockey stick in your hand. Do you remember the first time that you put on the skates? What drew the sport to you?
Yeah, dude. So my mother actually came from a hockey family. Her 2 brothers both played. They grew up in Seekonk, Mass, which is right on the border of Rhode Island, right next to East Providence. So I grew up in Riverside, Rhode Island, which is the next town over from East Providence, until I was about 5, and then we moved to Western Massachusetts. So when I was 3 years old, it was the first time that I put skates on, went out, did the whole chair thing, ripping around the ice, and didn't need the chair for too long. I mean, I kind of just fell in love with it and picked it up pretty quick. And the first rink I ever skated at was Cranston Vets in Cranston, Rhode Island.
Okay.
And played on, some youth teams there where you could play games. The Edgewood Eagles was the first team that I was associated with.
Well, what a youth hockey organization, by the way. Oh my God. I know nothing about it, but the name of that just sounds what do the jerseys look like? What color are they?
Great uniforms, just black and orange.
Oh, fuck yeah.
All black, orange, just intimidating unis for sure.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because youth hockey, any team that walks in with black jerseys, for some reason, I'd always shit my pants. I'd be we're going to get run by 15 here.
Yeah, except for one game, they put me in as a goaltender. Oh, and I was fucking terrible. Hey, I'm telling you, I probably made one save. It was 17-0 or something like that. It was just, I figured out real quick that I wasn't going to be a goaltender.
Yeah, quick pivot, and then you're back. Back in the regular.
I would have blew out a groin early.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you brought that, dude. I have the worst groins in the league. I'm probably 3 times a year I'll pull a groin, and I'm out for a month at a time. I literally just did it last week. It's brutal.
Just a rough recovery road for you, huh?
It's the worst, dude.
Yeah.
I'm 30 years old. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why my body's breaking down, but it's just not a good deal for me. And let me tell you, hockey players are supposed to have a certain level of pain threshold. I'm not there, dude. I pull a groin and I pretty much need to get carted off the ice. It's this whole embarrassing thing. I make sure people are tapping their sticks on the ice. Show me some respect. You know how it is.
You got to give it the classic hockey recovery. It's ice and stim.
Yeah. I wish, dude. It's just the beer leagues, they don't operate that way. So
I hear you.
So I have the Can-I brands fucking CBD lotion. Just get after. So you started with the
works better.
Oh, it's not. It's pretty fucking good shit.
I bet.
So the Edgetown Eagles?
Edgewood
Eagles. Okay,
yeah.
So you're growing up. I always kind of think this is kind of a cool question to ask, because I think everybody who thinks of an NHL, AHL, Division I hockey player, they automatically assume that player was easily the best player, growing up through the ranks of youth hockey. Was that the case with you? Were you hands down the best, or was there a certain point where you got to where you're okay, it kind of makes sense now?
Yeah, I would say, definitely up until I was 8 years old, I was pretty dominant.
It's different.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I don't know. It was just me, I guess. I picked it up quicker. I was fast. Yeah. I really didn't even have anyone to pass the puck to, because I would just, I'd go through everybody and I'd be the only one. It'd pretty much be a breakaway.
Yeah.
So I picked it up pretty quick. And I think my dad, realized that he had to get me out of the youth organizations and get me into a travel team. So, but at that time we had moved to Western Massachusetts, a little town called Westfield, which is right outside of Springfield.
Yep.
So he got a better job, better opportunity financially for the family. Moved us out there when I was 5 or 6. Played youth hockey in Westfield until I was about 8. And there was a travel team there in that area called the Springfield Junior Picks. And it was pretty much the only program there. Like nowadays you have so many leagues everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you don't make a team, I'll go to this team.
Yeah.
Here, fortunately, which was great about this was I was forced to, go out and I had to make the team, or I was going to go back to youth hockey, which I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. So ended up making the team. And right away you could tell just a different structure, different talent. I wasn't the best player on the team anymore. Yep. Which was definitely great for me. And I think it made me become a better player.
No, for sure. And were you playing other sports, or were you just like strictly hockey? That's what was going on.
No, I was playing, it was mostly growing up. It was hockey and baseball up until, probably high school. And then I played, when I was in high school for 1 year, I played lacrosse and football, but for the most part of my life, it was hockey and baseball.
Now, I know that you played in the EJ. Did you get a chance to play for your high school team, or did you just go straight to junior after the picks, I suppose?
No, I never played high school. Grew up playing. I played in the Springfield Picks organization all the way up until Bantam. So I was there for a good, 5, 6, 7 years. Then I made a transition when I was in 9th grade. I played for the Connecticut Clippers. So my dad would travel 45, 50 minutes twice, 3 times a week just for practice. And then our home games were in Cromwell, Connecticut. So that drive from Westfield to Cromwell was 45, 50 minutes. The nearest home game was probably 2-3 hours away. We played in that Atlantic Junior League with like the New Jersey Devils, the Colonials, yep. Philadelphia Junior Flyers, Pennsylvania Panthers. I mean, there was a lot of teams in that league that were really, really good.
I mean, and that's just, aren't hockey dads the best, dude? Hockey parents are just fucking like unbelievable.
Different breed, man.
They really are, man, because like, as much as I want to say whenever I have kids, I'd be willing to make that drive, but that drive has to get old at some point too. Like,
it's the drive. It's when you're young, it's getting up at 4:30 in the morning to get to, 6 o'clock in the morning game or in the freezing cold rink. I mean, it takes a special individual to go through with that. Not only mentally, but financially too.
Oh yeah, for sure. And on top of that, he had other kids too. So that was like, fuck, hockey parents they're a different breed, dude. We should put that on a t-shirt. That would probably sell.
Dude, they were paying rent at Town Fair Tire, changing out the tires on the tires. The miles they were putting on them.
Jeez, man. So, and then you wound up playing for the New England Junior Coyotes in the EJ. So you got to play against the CD Selects, the upstate New York 518 out of the RPI rank. 19 goals, 25 assists, 44 points, 120 PIMs. I love seeing that out of you.
A lot of a lot of 10-minuters on that.
Oh, I think in that whole league, like that was just kind of like officials. Oh yeah, pretty much everything. It's like 2 minutes for delay of game, and then like another like 30 for just like soiling the refs. But
I'll take it though. I padded the stats. It was nice.
I mean, I'm looking right now, and 120 minutes sticks out. That's like a beauty fucking thing to have.
Absolutely,
so I appreciate that. What was it like playing in that league? And then you ended up going to UMaine. So like, at what point in your life did you realize that Division I hockey was like a realistic goal?
So I would say when I was 17, I got selected to the under 17 team for Massachusetts. Usually the under 17, like the festival was out in St. Cloud, or it was up in like Rochester, New York or something. And
Vegas, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful town. What's that bar there? The Dinosaur?
Oh, dude, I my ex-girlfriend's from Rochester. I spent a lot of time out there. She actually lived in the same neighborhood as Ryan Callahan.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I met him a few times.
I forgot he was from there. And Dustin Brown, he's from up that way too.
Yeah. No, Dustin Brown, he's New York, Ithaca, but like super close. But so making the U17 team out of Mass, like, other than Minnesota, would you say that Massachusetts probably has the best like types of players, or at least
Yeah.
during like that time. It was like Minnesota, Mass. I like now you kind of see like St. Louis, and there's some pretty good players coming out from out west. But like Massachusetts is no joke when it comes to fucking hockey.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely held our own. We had a really, really good team out there. We had a lot of great players. I mean, a couple of guys on our team were ranked like number 1 and number 3 in the tournament. But like that was the first time that college had approached me or my father via however they did. I don't even remember what happened, but definitely that was the first time, and I was like, wow. I mean, this is exciting, and it kind of boosted my mentality towards the game a little bit as well. So
Yeah.
I got a chance to go to the next level here, and I think I just kept getting better and better. Throughout 17, 18, those next 2 years were big years for me.
Yeah, and you go to UMaine, which probably I would say they have the best jerseys in NCAA. Like, I don't really
Oh,
think
they're
it's close. Like,
unbelievable, dude.
I mean, I like the Michigan helmets, but like the dark blue and the baby blue, dude, I mean, they're legit.
The away jerseys is tight for sure.
Oh my god! And then like you look at the history there, man. They don't have slouches there. Paul Correa probably put up the best rookie year of any freshman. I mean, true freshman out of Maine. He puts up that many points. Jimmy Montgomery, Mike Dunham. And you got to play shit. I write down notes and I forget that.
Oh, good, man.
So at Maine, you got to play with some pretty good people. You got to play with Greg Moore. I think he was kind of a role player on the Rangers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he not like a GM somewhere, an assistant GM, or
he's the head coach of the Toronto Marlies, which is the Toronto Maple Leafs farm team.
Right. And I mean that's pretty fucking impressive. You got to play with Jimmy Howard, the pride of Ogdensburg, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Your sophomore year you had Ben Bishop. Your junior year you had Teddy Purcell. So like you got to play. Those teams sounded like they're pretty fucking good. What was the biggest adjustment going from the EJ to Hockey East? I'm assuming it was probably like the speed and all types of that stuff. But did you have trouble adjusting to that? And what was your experience like at UMaine? It was probably fucking unbelievable.
Oh, it was incredible. I think the biggest adjustment for me was, 17, 18-year-old years. I was a, goal scorer. I was a leading goal scorer. I mean, I was a very physical player. I mean, I'd run around and hit everything that moved, but I would also put points up. When I got to Maine, I was a fourth line guy, third, fourth line guy, penalty, definitely like an energy penalty killer.
Fucking love that.
Yeah. But, because of that, and because I had speed and I was a physical player, the adjustment wasn't hard for me because I had a role.
Right.
Like it wasn't like I was a goal scorer going into to Maine and I wasn't scoring goals. I didn't have to.
Yeah, no. And I know, like, obviously there's a ton of differences between Division I players and people below that. But, like, if you can get people to buy into their role, like, that's huge. And I think when you start getting to those upper levels, like, I mean, like, growing up, you'd have the kid who thought he was so sick and he never passed the puck. And it's like, this kid's fucking awful. He doesn't have any idea what's going on. But then when you get up there, like, I mean, you just said it. You lit it up and then you got there and you're like, fuck, I need to find a different role. Like, let's go party in the corners.
Oh, absolutely, man. I thrived on that, and I accepted that role. And most of the nights I came out and I did my job. But Maine, I don't know if you've ever been up to Orono, but the atmosphere up there I consider it the best in college hockey.
I love that.
I went up there. I took my unofficial visit up there. My dad and I drove up there from Westfield on a Sunday, 5 hours. They were playing Merrimack, who was terrible at the time. It was a Sunday afternoon game at 3:00, and the place was just off the wall, dude.
That's fucking sick.
And I turned to my dad and I was just like,
yep.
Man, I think that this is the spot for me.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit of a smaller rink. I could run around a little bit. It was more suited to my game, whereas like UNH is, a lot bigger and
huge. Great facilities, though. I got a chance to play club there a couple of times. The facilities were dope, but huge ice.
I loved playing there. I don't know if I could have been a home. I mean, obviously, I would have embraced it, but it's just the Orono, the Alphon suited my game a little bit better.
Dude, that's fucking sick. Just knowing that you're gonna go play Division I, and you did. And in 2004, you get drafted 3rd round, 92 overall to the Philadelphia Flyers. What was that like? When did you know that you had a chance of getting drafted?
I was talking to some NHL teams, especially during that 18-year-old year playing for the Coyotes. And I just did. I thought maybe the Rangers were an option, the Canadians, and I definitely the Flyers. Flyers I talked to quite a bit, and we went to the draft. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina. Went with my family, and I mean it's a nerve-wracking day because you're the teams that you've been talking to, they're up next. You're like, there's a possibility here, and then they pass, and it's like, fuck, I don't what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's definitely a mental game, but getting drafted by Philly, I mean, it taught me a lot, man. Like just a great organization, a fucking no holds bar organization. Like they're just all they care about is hard work, showing up every day and fucking grinding. Like going to those, I went to like maybe six development camps there, like some of the most grueling weeks of my life. And I mean, I think it's changed a little bit now since back then, but like it was life-changing for me, man. But definitely mental toughness.
Oh yeah. And I mean, just the history behind that organization. I'm a huge Rangers fan, like die hard, whatever. Obviously, that'd be my first pick. But then you kind of start thinking about other teams, like who you would want to be. That's a sick team to be because, like, they're the Flyers, dude. And no matter who's on the team, they're always going to be that annoying fucking Flyers team that grinds real hard, and like that's fucking unreal. So you end up playing a game in 2007, and then in 2008 you put in 52 games with the Philadelphia Phantoms, and then the next year you went to Adirondack Phantoms, which we're going to kind of get into. But the players that you played with there, Matsumoto was a fucking Glens Falls Civic Center legend. So was Patty Maroon. We love Patty Maroon.
He's a good buddy of mine, man. He's a great dude.
He was unbelievable. You got to play with Claude Giroux for a little bit. Klotz, Clarkson,
Savage,
Shane Harper.
Oh yeah, played with Harps for a little bit.
So I'm boys with Harps. He lives up in Queensbury now. He's a fucking absolute beauty. Yeah,
in New York he does.
Yeah, well, I think he's overseas right now playing, but yeah, he lives up in Queensbury, like probably right by the Civic Center.
You know what? I think he came on did he come on the team late that year and then played the whole next year?
He didn't play that many games. He only played like 7 games, so that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, those are some fucking unreal names, and like, dude, fucking Klotz and Claxon, obviously they're banging bodies. You got to play with Ray Emery for a little bit, rest in peace. So you got to play with like some pretty cool fucking players. What was it like going from D1 hockey to professional AHL?
It was definitely it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was definitely a little bit of an adjustment because it turned from like it turned from being fun to business.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Which is, it was definitely a little bit of a different experience. I mean, in a good way. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about it. It was a little bit different. But I got to play with some great players. Practices raise your game. Like Danny Briere came down and played with us for a little bit, which pretty cool. But the organization that we were in was stacked at the time, man. Like Philly was going to the Stanley Cup or the Eastern Conference Final pretty much every year I was there.
Yeah.
So it was a tough organization to move up in. Mm-hmm. Part of me sometimes wishes I got drafted by the Florida Panthers back then, where everybody got a shot.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
So you got to play with Claude Giroux when he was 20 years old in 33 games. He was a point per game player. Did like with him and like Patty Maroon and the guys who ended up like carving out a career in the NHL, like when you're practicing with those guys, do you just kind of know that like they have it?
Definitely. Yeah. Patty's just gotten better and better. He's worked his ass off to get where he is, shedding weight but his hands were always there, man. I could just tell like right away. I was like, this guy for a big guy, he's got phenomenal hands. Tough to knock him off the puck down low. He's unbelievable in front of the net. And Claude was the same way. Like, as soon as he came in, like this kid's special at a young age too, man. He was like, I think he was, yeah. And he was just coming off an unbelievable playoff with Gatineau too. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
He had like 51 points in like 18 games or something like that.
It's not too bad. I don't think I've ever put up 51 points, so that's cool. But yeah, you got to play both of them when
league
they were
now.
20. Matsumoto was 21. I mean, pretty good fucking teams, dude.
Yeah,
So
he was an unbelievable point getter, man. He put up points.
Matt Claxton had 263 penalty minutes.
Yeah, he was a nut, man.
Holy shit.
He was a tough kid. Klotzy too.
Holy fuck. Yep. And then Patty Maroon had 125. Joey Mormina, I don't know if I remember him, 102.
Joey's a big guy. He played for the Albany River Rats for a little bit too.
Dude, your year with the Adirondack Phantoms, you guys had some guys. I think you had 3 or 4 guys with over 100 penalty minutes. I love that shit.
Yeah, we had a tough team, man. There was a couple other guys too. Stevenson, he fought quite a bit and the year I was in Glens Falls. Yeah, we had a tough team.
That's unreal. Did I actually? Yeah, I accidentally did that. Whatever. So you carved out that AHL career, and then you go over the pond. And what was the reasoning behind that? And when you got there, was it everything you kind of expected, or was it a little bit different? Like, tell us what it's like playing hockey over in England. I think we've had a couple of people on the pod that have played over there, but it seems like it's a sick spot.
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, I didn't go back to Philly. I tried out. I did a tryout for the Worcester Sharks, another AHL team. They didn't end up taking me, and they offered me to go to Elmira, which is in New York.
Yep.
And
Elmira Jackals.
Yeah, and I was just at a crossroads. I mean, I didn't really feel like going there. You know, I heard I didn't hear great things about the city. I mean, it's not. I ended up playing there for 3 years after. We'll get to that, but I was just at a crossroads, and I had an opportunity to go out and play in England, and I was like, at the time in my life, I just said, sounds intriguing. I mean, it's going out. I'm going to a different part of the world, and went out there, and shockingly, just. It was a good league. The fans were crazy, just like you would expect. I mean, you've seen soccer fans over there.
Yeah.
You know, we would get at our rink. It was kind of very similar to the UNH. It was very similar to Whittemore. It just didn't have an end zone of fans. It was just like a horseshoe, and it was probably 7,000, and we packed it in, man. And we had a good team. We ended up winning the championship that day.
No shit.
Or not that day, but that year.
I mean, that's a pretty sick story, right? Like, you get to fucking go over there and you win a ship, and you're there for a year, and then you end up going back to Elmira and playing for the Jackals. You go back to the coast. You play for the Jackals for 3 years, and then the South Carolina Stingrays with Joey Diamond. But what was it like playing in the coast at that time? Because that's 2011. So the coast isn't tough anymore. So I'm trying to figure out what year like the coast like was tough as shit. Was it those years?
Back probably like 2000. I mean, what year was that when I went over?
You went to England in 2010. You came back in 2011.
Yeah. So, I mean, the East Coast League was probably, it was really, really tough in like 2008, 2009. We had some tough guys for sure. I mean, it was definitely like the fighting was kind of phasing out, kind of like it is now. Even more now, but, I just like, going over to England was a great, for me, it was a confidence builder in terms of my game. I put up a lot of points. I was scoring goals. I felt really good about, where my game was at. Ended up going back and being closer to home. And
sounds like you're having fun again.
I was having fun again. Yeah, definitely. And, and I had fun ever since until I retired. I had some great years ever since then. Thought I could have maybe had an opportunity to get called up some of my years in Elmira, either to Binghamton or Rochester. It just didn't happen. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. I still worked hard. I fucking showed up every day, played hard, and played with some great players. Had some great teams, went pretty deep in the playoffs a few times. And, it was a great run for hockey was a great run for me. And I don't regret one minute of it. And, fucking the biggest takeaway for me is fucking met a lot of great people, a lot of connections right now.
Yeah. And like, dude, there's not that many people who become professional hockey players. So like, and the fact, I mean, and you lived it up, dude. UMaine, sick school to go to. You got drafted by the Flyers, fucking tough ass organization. You got to go over to England, which was fucking. So how old were you when you went to England in 2010?
I was probably 20. I would say I was probably like 24, 25, right in there.
Not the most perfect age to go to England.
Oh, it was fun, dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It's unbelievable. Then your last year, you played for South Carolina Stingrays, and you got to. Is that when you met Joey?
Met Joey in South Carolina. He was my roommate.
No, did they put you guys together because you were UMaine guys?
They might have. I just showed up. I ended up showing up there a little bit late in the year. Well, actually, it was right at the end of training camp. Like training camp had already happened. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do because I was going to move down to Nashville. And Spencer Carberry was the coach there at the time, and he offered me a job. And I said, I always wanted to play down in Charleston, man. I've been out there a few times. It's a really cool town, good city, good weather. And you know what? I said, fuck it. I'm going to go down and play one more year. So I went down there a little bit late in training camp, walked into my apartment, and Joey was my roommate.
No shit, dude.
Hey, not a bad guy to have a roommate.
No, not at all, man. It's in the fucking small world, and you're right. Like you meet so many like cool fucking people in the hockey world, and it's nuts, man. That's fucking sick. And you kind of mentioned that you were thinking about moving down to Nashville. Now you do the country music thing. Yeah. I would say I'm more of a showman than I am a singer. Karaoke definitely more moves. Yeah, I try. But when did you like start singing? When was that something for you? And I got to ask this: did the boys give you a hard fucking time, or were they like, yeah, let's fucking go? Because like hockey has like the I'm a rough exterior, like manly man kind of thing. But like, dude, you're out here fucking belting country hits. I'm like, what was that like?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, they were pretty supportive. I mean, they could have been chirping me behind my back, but I was, I just kept rolling with it, man. I enjoyed it. We would, I picked it up probably when I was 20, my senior year at Maine, or the year after, maybe.
That's kind of late.
Yeah, it's late. Yeah, definitely.
No
so when I first picked it up and was playing, yeah, I probably sucked, and they were probably fucking sick of hearing me for sure. But I just kept with it, man. I really, really loved it. And, I never had to fight the passion for it. And then songwriting became a passion for me. And as I got better and better, like, we'd be out at the bar late night, come back and fucking grab the axe. And, it would be up till fucking 3 or 4 in the morning.
I was going to ask you how many times you whipped the guitar out at a hockey party.
Oh, yeah. It's a good amount. This fucking guy again.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable. Like, I fucking love that shit. So, and you took the risk. I guess it's a risk because you don't know what's going to happen, but you moved to Nashville and you just start fucking doing your thing. So like you started your senior year in Maine, which is insane. Are you playing as you're playing hockey? Like, is that still very much in your life? Like get home from practice and just kind of get after it? Or did the songwriting kind of happen later on?
I mean, that's definitely what happened. I mean, the songwriting probably happened later on, like very, very, I would say I had a big songwriting year. I mean, not to say any of the songs were good, but like I just wrote a lot of songs, and it was kind of probably in England.
Okay.
And then when I came to Elmira, like that was when music kind of really started taking off for me. Just in terms, like for myself, not in terms of, financially or anything, just, I was playing all the time. I was coming home from practice, writing a few songs, or always playing it. And then by the time I got to South Carolina, I mean, I was getting better and better, writing a ton of songs at that point. Playing a lot, starting to play some more gigs out. And then when I retired from South Carolina, moved down to Nashville because, it was consuming me. It was what I wanted to do at the time, at that point in my life. But I knew that I had to get around better musicians and better writers than me.
Dude, it sounds an awful lot like when you're a kid playing hockey.
Same thing,
right? Like you need to surround yourself by better people because you're not going to get better if you're not around better people.
It doesn't matter what you're doing,
right?
Yeah, because not only that, other people are going to have a different perspective, where you'd be like, oh, I never thought about it that way, or you're gonna say, fuck, I'm not that good yet, and it's gonna keep you driving to get better and better. Then I went down to Nashville. I met a lot of great people down there, talented people, creative people. I was writing all the time, doing writers rounds, playing live, like writer round gigs, which is I don't know if you ever been down there or heard of like the Bluebird Cafe or like
Heard of the Bluebird, haven't been there, going probably at the end of the summer. I'm gonna head down there and check it out.
yeah.
Always wanted to.
So I personally, I really like the Listening Room Cafe, but what it is, it's like an intimate venue where it's like all you have a bunch of up and coming songwriters in Nashville, and they're telling their stories of each song, and you probably play 4, 5, 6 songs in an hour, and then you pack up, go to the next place. But it's pretty cool. I mean, you meet a lot of people that way, and it was definitely it was a huge growth in my music career those 3 years. I mean, my songwriting from like 3 years ago till now has definitely improved tremendously.
How nervous were you the first time that you got down to Nashville and like started playing your gigs?
Real nerve. I mean, definitely, I was nervous. Like, it's a whole thing because it's not the whole process of picking up a guitar and learning it is fucking nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Then it's the process of singing it in front of people. I'm not even talking about a crowd. I'm talking about your parents.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're super fucking vulnerable, dude. Like,
yeah.
you're putting your shit out there, and you're just hoping that people appreciate it.
Exactly. So and so then that was a thing, and then it was like you're playing your first gig, and it's like, holy fuck! Like, what do I say in between songs? Do I sound like shit? Like, there's so much. Like, for me, there was just so much shit going through my head as I was playing, but for some reason, I just kept trucking along, man, and just. I really enjoy it, man. It's like I said, I've never had to fight the urge to pick it up or write a song or go out and gig. I mean, I'm fucking gigging nowadays. I'm gigging 60, 70, 80 times a summer.
Jeez, man. I mean, that's fucking sick, because after the gig's done, you have a few beers, you hang out, you're like, yeah, I'm the dude with the sick hair that was on the stage singing. What's your name?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking perfect. Now, these two questions are going to kind of tie into each other, but in terms of like singers, like who kind of inspired you as like your country career like progressed? And then one question I ask everybody, I probably should have gave you like a heads up about it because it might take a little while to figure it out. But if you could have your own music festival jamboree and you can pick 5 artists or bands to play your music festival jamboree, who would that be?
Country?
It's a hard one. It's whatever music you want. It's your concert. You're gonna go there with a giant smile on your face, dude. It's sunny outside. Let's say it's at the Red Rocks. You have a like nice little slight breeze. There's just hot chicks everywhere. Like, what 5 people do you want playing the concert?
Oh man, I would say Stapleton.
Oh, he's excellent.
Eric Church.
I love Eric Church. Okay.
Luke Combs.
Dude, Eric Church is so underrated, by the way. Like, that guy is a fucking god.
Dude, he's not only like he's got great tone to his voice, but he's a storyteller, man, and his lyrics are fucking on point.
Yeah, dude. I don't know why, but he reminds me of like the Dale Earnhardt of like the country music. Like, I don't know. So you got,
hey, dude, great analogy.
So you got Stapleton, Church, and then you got 3 more.
Luke Combs, I'd say, dude, that guy crushes right now.
Fucking awesome.
But like I'll go off country. Big fan. I mean, I grew up a huge fan of like Dave Matthews, but I'm also like a huge classic rock guy, like Eagles and Zeppelin and Steve Miller Band and Dire Straits. Like, love that. So I'll say.
Did you ever get a chance to see Dave at SPAC?
Oh, dude, I've seen Dave fucking 18 times.
Have you seen him at SPAC though, at the Saratoga?
No, I usually go to Hartford.
Whew. If you ever get a chance, dude, when this COVID shit goes away and he comes back to SPAC, it's must, like, you need to.
Dude, I definitely will, because I've heard it's a time there. It's not far
in the summer, dude, so we can hit the track too. We'll have a fucking day.
Absolutely, man. Saratoga.
Hell yeah.
But
yeah, Eagles, Zeppelin, I mean, they're fucking classics.
Absolutely. But yeah, dude, I'm a huge Stapleton fan. I mean, that guy, for me, vocally and lyrically, he's he's up there for me right now.
And he's genuine as shit, dude. Like, he is who he is. There's no fakeness about him. Not saying that like Luke Bryan and Brad Paisley are fake, but like they're too perfect. You know what I mean? Where like Stapleton's not. Like he is who he is.
He's a humble dude, and probably to finish. I mean, I guess you got to go with I don't know, not an encore, but like headliner for everyone having fun is Chesney.
Oh, thank God you said that. He's easily my favorite. I have 2 people I haven't seen that I need to see. Chesney's one of them, and George Strait. I would love to see George Strait. But I saw Garth Brooks, dude. Garth Brooks is a fucking showman, dude. That guy runs across the stage like the whole fucking time, gets people going. Saw Carrie Underwood. Dan and Shay was really good.
One of the best showmen I've ever seen, Garth Brooks. Dude, I saw so my fiance, she's a she is a co-host on a radio station in Boston called 102.5, Country 102.5. And she got these tickets to go to see Garth Brooks at a dive bar. He was doing his dive bar tour. So we went to it was Six String Bar and Grill up by Gillette Stadium where the Patriots play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably less than 1,000 people at this place. I mean, we were right there. We were probably 10 rows back. This guy put on a show, man. It was very, very impressive to see. And then he's playing his gigs and he's like, fuck, I forgot he's got this tune. And it's just like, he rifles off, dude, just hit after hit.
I was literally thinking the exact same thing because I've seen two people in concert where that's happened. Garth Brooks is one of them where like every song that comes on, you're like, fuck, I didn't know he sang this one too. Or like, oh, I forgot about that one. This one's a banger. And Jason Aldean too. If you ever go to a Jason Aldean concert, dude, he writes like 50 fucking songs where you're like, I know every fucking word to this song. Like, when did this happen?
Dude, I saw Aldean and we were out playing. I think we were with the Jackals. We were playing in Toledo, Ohio. And we were just looking for stuff to do and not even knowing it, dude. Aldean's playing at the rink the night before we play.
No shit.
Oh, dude, we were getting in touch with everybody. Like they're trainers to figure out if they could get us in. We ended up getting in. It was he put on a show, man. It was a treat bonus that he was there while we were playing.
I mean, that's fucking awesome. So you came out December 11th, 2020 with the album Hungry Heart.
Yeah.
Come This Far seems to be the banger off that album. You have some other ones. Now, here's some questions for you. If people haven't heard you sing yet, what song are you directing them towards? And then what song are you most proud of? I don't know if it's going to be the same song because I feel like sometimes I'm not an artist, but I feel like if I wrote songs and sang, there's a good chance just because my luck, I would put so much time into one song, it would fucking suck. And then one I wouldn't, it would be a banger. Like, is it kind of like that? Have you ever been like disappointed because you put so much time into one song and it didn't get as much hype as you wanted compared to like something else?
Yeah, I mean, it's for me. I feel like I'm in a different spot because it's not like I have a decent fan base. I mean, I'm not, I have like if you look at my Instagram, I mean, I have around 5,000 followers, which is it's decent. I mean,
and check it out on the bottom here. Follow Robert. I got you, bro.
Oh, marketing! I love the marketing here, man. It's unbelievable. But like, if you look at it in the whole scheme of things, I mean, it's not a huge number, So I'm not going to beat myself up over making, a song completely perfect. I mean, I'm a big believer of just, getting what you feel out there and not beating a fucking dead horse and get it out there and let the people hear it. And then maybe you'll gain traction that way. For the songs, all the songs that I just released, like the 14 songs, it's tough, man. I mean, I really like Come This Far. I don't know if it's just like an anthem. It's like an anthem for somebody that has put a lot of work in to get where they are and they're not stopping.
It's your life, dude.
Pretty much. Yeah. And you could, anybody can relate to that, man. If you're an athlete, if you're a musician, if you're a fucking business, if you're in a startup business and you're just getting off the ground, but you worked your ass off to get to that point financially to buy it. And you're at the starting point again. You don't give a fuck. You didn't come this far to come this far. You know what I mean? You're going to fucking keep going. So, I like the lyrics of that song. I mean, I love some of the vibes in that song. I mean, I wanted it to be, I put out songs that hopefully touch people in terms of lyrics and inspires them to, become great. And I also want to put on songs there that you don't have to really listen to. It's beer drinking music. It's stuff you can put on in the background at the beach and fucking bob your head to it and crush beers to. You know what I mean? So I wanted it to be, a little bit of everything.
No, and that's fucking awesome. What's next? I mean, this one just dropped in December. Like, what's next on the agenda for you, dude? Are you back in the lab or what's going on?
I'm always in the lab, man. I live in the lab, dude. I have so many songs. It's crazy. The problem with me is getting them recorded, man. It's
Yeah.
it's financial burden. I don't have a label backing me, or I don't have a lot of finances backing me right now, but I'll find a way to get it done.
I mean, you always have, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of songs, dude, that I have in the chamber, and I'm still putting them in there. And there's gonna be a lot of albums to come. Let's just say that.
Okay, here's one for you. If you had to pick one, because you started with a hockey career. Now we're doing country music. If you could only pick one, and that would have been the only one that you would have done from the moment you started to right now, what one would you pick?
Man, that's a really it's a really, really tough question. And I thought about this, and it's almost a non-answer for me because I can't answer it. The only reason that I would pick music is because you can do it until you're dead.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason. And hockey, it's a fucking toll on your body. And you look at these guys. I mean, you look at Yager, like, it's amazing, that guy, what he's done. I mean, very, very seldom do you make it to like 50 years old. Very seldom. A lot of guys are retiring mid-30s, 40 years old. Music, man, you can play music till you're fucking 85.
No, and you nailed it there. And hey, I didn't ask this when you mentioned this. You said your fiance is the co-host of a radio show. Did you meet her through hockey or through music, or how'd that happen?
Music. So I was down in Nashville doing the singer-songwriter thing, and I walked in a bar because I was gonna play this this writers round, and she was singing before me. She was a singer-songwriter down there.
Oh, no shit.
And I said, this girl's pretty hot, pretty great, pretty good looking, great voice on her, and didn't think anything of it. And she ended up being there after I was done. And you just ended up going over, having a few beers with her, and small talking, and realizing that we had more in common than we even thought of at the start. So we ended up writing together, no relationship at all. And then one thing led to another. I mean, I tell her it was only a fucking matter of time.
Yeah. And I mean, writing with somebody, again, like, when you're doing that shit, that's like when you're at your absolute most vulnerable. I feel like you kind of have to like really have a lot of trust in whoever you're doing that with, not to be like a complete asshole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be understanding of the other person and get a feel for, I've done, a lot of different writes, man. It's either I've done a one-on-one write, male, female. I've done co-writes where there's 2, 3, 4 people in the room. I mean, it's all a different dynamic. I tell people, like, when you're writing, you're either the driver or you're the passenger. You might come into the right one day and you're flowing, like, you have the idea, like, stuff just flowing out of your mouth, and you got melodies and lyrics ripping, and your code, and the person that's with you might just sit back and let you do your thing and just chime in when they want. And what about this part? Okay. Sometimes you're the passenger. Sometimes somebody else comes in and they're just ripping, and you're just saying, it's not my day today. It's this person's day.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna help out where I can, but I'm gonna stay out of his or her way.
It's got to be sick when you're gelling, like when you get to that like one fucking where it's like, I mean, that feeling's got to be pretty fucking cool. That's probably just like taking like a shot that is just so fucking perfect, the puck coming off the stick. It's probably like very similar to that shit.
It's fun. Like, it's fun not only like coming up with a cool melody that people are gonna dig, and it's gonna be catchy, but also coming up like a good tagline, like a good, having it all come together with the last line of the chorus or something like that, and that's, as a good writer, I mean, that's what you're striving for.
What are you most proud of so far in your country career?
I
mean, dude, it's pretty fucking sick, the shit that you've done. Like,
yeah, I'm proud of, like, I guess I'm proud of the progress. I'm proud of the progress. I'm proud of, looking back on, when I look back on 23 years old when I picked up the guitar, I mean, I've come a really, really long way, but then I've also come a long way in the last 2 years, so I think the progress has been fun. I mean, the journey's been fun. And I think, I'm really, really getting a grasp on the writing and finding my sound. And, I'm excited to see what's going to happen here in the future.
I mean, I can't fucking wait, dude. I was definitely jamming before this started. I was interested to see what song your favorite was, so I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man.
Let's see here. Okay, I have two more questions. First one's gonna be quick. What's your favorite emoji?
Oh my God, dude. This sign right here.
Okay, I like that. And then if you weren't into hockey or music, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
I don't know. I mean, I'm doing something on the side right now. I'm working for a sports media company called Company 39. So I guess it would be something business oriented or marketing, media, and what we're doing is, I mean, it hasn't come out yet on platforms yet, but we're kind of on the startup scene of it. But what it is it's brand building for athletes.
I can't wait.
It's
I'm fucking pumped, dude. Joey and Matt gave me like the rundown of like what the site's gonna look like and shit. Like, if you guys are listening to this podcast and you appreciate hockey, you guys should. I'm just letting you know. Like, do you remember growing up? The only videos we'd have would be like those VCR tapes of like Wayne Gretzky, and like you'd put it in and like you just watch Wayne Gretzky dick around or whatever, and like that was sick as a kid. I can't imagine when I was a kid if Company 39 came out with what they're going to come out with. If I had that as a kid, like my love for the game, because like I already love it now, but like it's going to be so fucking sick. I cannot wait until that's live.
Dude, there's not enough, like, you know, you look at hockey players as a whole, like, you know, pretty modest guys, like, you know, there's not a lot, you know, social media these days, a lot of like these big athletes don't post on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're trying to build that up for these guys and give them a platform to do it in a authentic way, you know, and it's going to help. It's going to not only help, you know, get their names out there and get their vibe out there to the young generation, but it's going to inspire a lot of people, a lot of young hockey players to, you know, to become fans.
It's going to be, I can't wait. It's going to be fucking sick. But Rob, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Dude, I appreciate you having me, dude. I had a lot of fun.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I had a great time. We do trivia shows every once in a while, so maybe we can get you and Joey on a trivia show or some shit.
Dude, anytime, man. Let me know.
All right, fuck yeah. And that's Rob Bellamy, guys. You guys can follow him. That's at Rob Bellamy Music on Instagram. Check him out on Spotify. Hockey player, country music star. Literally, like, fucking sick life, dude. So, Rob, thanks for hopping on, man. And that was this episode of The Morning Skate.